Hi guys, I'm Mama Mita, and today my video is how to make a chimichanga. Now, chimichanga is basically a filling that you put inside a tortilla, and then you would roll it up, okay, and you deep fry it. And then you would, after that, you would put to eat it, you would put your salsa on top of it. But I'm going to show you a really simple way that I do a chimichanga. And this I came across many years ago, back in the 1970s when I lived in Houston, and we would go to the Mexican restaurants. And I really like the chimichangas, and I could eat the chimichangas like maybe every day. So I had to learn how to make those little things. Anyway, so let's get started, and I'll show you how easy this thing is to make. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I need to put my stove on and start heating up my little bit of oil. I put a little bit of oil inside the pan, okay? And then I'm going to put some hamburger meat in there. I just pretty much throw everything in, and then I use a potato masher to mash up my hamburger meat. And you can keep the fire high on this. This is fine to do that. And you just want to mash it up and fry that meat up, okay? You're going to fry it up. But before it gets brown, then you're going to add your onions and your bell peppers. Okay, so now I'm frying up that hamburger meat, and I'm getting ready to add my onions in there and let those simmer, and add my bell peppers and some jalapenos, some chopped up jalapenos. I didn't have fresh jalapenos, so I'm just using some of the jalapenos out of the pickled jalapenos, which it's fine. It'll be okay. Okay, so now I'm cooking that, and it's looking pretty good. So I've got the bell peppers in here, the onions in here, the jalapenos in here, and the hamburger. And now I'm going to go ahead and add all of the rest of this garlic in there and get rid of that. Now you guys can put anything you want in these the chimichanga. You could add cauliflower, you can add broccoli. It's whatever you really feel for, you know, to put in your your little tortilla and then roll it up like a burrito, and then you fry it. Okay, so that's done. Okay, and I keep using my potato masher to break that. This potato masher really works up great for breaking up hamburger meat fast. Like, it just is the best little gadget to use. Okay, so now I'm going to throw the potatoes in. Little diced up potatoes, okay. Okay. And I'm going to let those potatoes fry a little bit with that meat to kind of get that fried taste in there. This is such an easy dish, cheap, just, you know, a little, a pound of hamburger meat. And like 3 small red potatoes. You know, red potatoes are very easy to grow. We used to grow them when we had the care home and in the backyard. And we started out one year that we planted potatoes, the residents, and Harry and I and the kids, we went out there and we planted them in a box, in a great big wooden box. And geez, when the plants died off, the potatoes, that we started pulling out the potatoes, we had so many potatoes we didn't know what to do. And the potatoes just kept coming back and coming back and coming back. Though all those years that we were there, we had potatoes that was growing in the backyard. It was just the craziest thing. I mean, I never grew potatoes like that. Like, wow. Okay, so I'm letting that cook. Now, I'm going to add some chili pepper. Not too much. And I'm going to use a little bit of adobos with pimento in it. It's good to use up your your spices. And a good way to use up the spices is in the wintertime when you know it's cold outside and you're eating heavier, so you can drag out the crock pots, and boy, you can really use the spices in with all those crock pots. Good way to get rid of all those spices. Okay, so I'll put a little bit of adobos. I'm not gonna put too much because sometimes these things, they have a little bit salt in them, and I don't need the extra salt, neither does my husband Harry. Okay, then I'm gonna put a little bit of cumin in it, just to give it that Mexican flavor. A little bit of oregano. Some paprika. Okay. Now, I'm going to stir that around. Okay. And now these potatoes, they cook pretty quick because you diced them up, you see. And so, this is very filling with the extra, with the potatoes in it. They didn't have potatoes, but I decided that it needed to have a little bit more filling in it. So that's why I did my chimichanga with potatoes. Okay, now I'm letting that cook. Now I'm gonna add a little water to that. And I'm gonna let that cook down, and I'll come back. Okay, so now I'm draining it. I'm straining it through this colander here, and then I want to show you something else. So when you're cooking that, sometimes you get stuff that kind of like sticks to the pan and it's hard to get off. So what I did, you can see all that, it's kind of stuck there. Okay, I put the fire back on, added some water to it, and I'm adding some Dawn dishwashing a little bit, and I'm gonna let that boil. And when that boils, I'm gonna take a big spoon and I'm gonna scrape around the bottom. And it boils and it just comes off right away. It's like a quick way to clean your pots. Like, this is a lifesaver because, you know, the kids when they're growing up, sometimes they burn something on the pot, or Harry burnt something, you know, whatever. And so this was a quick way of cleaning the pan. You just let it boil. Don't let it go over the pan though. You need to watch it because it will rise up and it'll boil. What it does is the soap boils and it just gets all that crud off the bottom, and then you're ready to clean the pan, and the food just comes right off right away instantly. It's just a crazy little quick way to clean your pot. Okay, so there you go. Everything's added to it, and I've let that little bit of water that I've put in there cook down to kind of help cook the potatoes. And once the potatoes come soft enough, at that point you turn it off and you kind of let it cool down a little bit if you can, and then you're ready to bring out your tortillas and start filling them up. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so you see how clean that bottom came out, and it was just so quick. So now I've got my oil, my vegetable oil, going, and I'm getting that hot. Okay, and then I will be ready to start rolling the burritos to put in. So we'll let that oil heat up. Okay, so now we're ready. All right, so the rule of thumb is you get your fingertips a little wet and drop it in, and my oil, if it sizzles, okay, which it's doing now, it's ready. So now at that point, I take my filling and I put it in the tortilla, okay? Don't put too much, because if you put too much, then it doesn't close very well, and it can make a mess in your oil, okay? So that should be good. Then you fold it up, okay? And if your tortilla is cold and doesn't want to cooperate with you, you can put it in the microwave and warm it up, and then it's more flexible. Then you put the sides in. Same thing over here with the sides. Okay, so now you've got like where it's looking like that, okay? So now you want to fold it over again, and you made like a burrito, okay? So now at that point, okay, and your oil is hot, you're gonna take these and you're gonna slide them underneath that and hold your burrito like that, okay? And you're gonna dip it in and you're gonna fry it. And you want to keep those tongs attached to it to hold that tortilla in place so it doesn't open up. It doesn't take long. So once you know at that point that it's on one side that it's getting pretty brown, it'll pretty much seal itself. Then you're okay. You're ready to just let it fry up. And once it's golden, light golden brown, then you'll take it out and you'll put it on your paper towel with your plate and stuff. Usually when I do this, I usually make maybe, I don't know, 30 or 40 of them at least. But today I'm only making 4. It's just me and my husband eating them. Okay, so now you see how it is like that? Now at that point, it's sealed. Let me turn that camera where you can see. Okay, at that point now, it's sealed. So you're all right to just set it in the pan like that and let it fry up, finish frying up. It's not gonna open up. And that's how I make them, the gringa makes them. Before, the old way, in the 70s in Houston, we put a toothpick in to hold them in place. But if you had a lot of margaritas, you sometimes forgot the toothpick was in there, and you got a reminder at the top of your roof of your mouth. Oh boy, those were the good old days when we lived in Houston, and we used to go to Matamoros and go down to South Padre Island. It was a lot of fun. Times have changed though, you know, we've got older and things have changed around now. But it's still fun to go to Mexico. Alright, so now I'm pulling it out. It's done. That quick. Alright, so there's one, okay? Then you get your other one. And you do the same thing. Okay, remember that if it's too cold and doesn't want to cooperate, you put it back in the microwave for just a few seconds to warm it up so that it'll fold easy. Because if nothing's worse, if it's too cold and it doesn't fold, then it cracks and it breaks, and that's it. That one's no good. You absolutely cannot use it because it'll be all over your pot with your oil. All right, so I'm folding it in, getting ready to close it up. All right, so then you see, I'm holding with my one hand and I'm putting this on the other, and I'm putting it down so that it fries it up. And once I know it's sealed, then I can turn it loose. If I had a bigger pan, I used to, could fry up 4 or 5 of them at one time, but with the smaller pan, but just don't have the room, in the RV to have all that stuff anymore. It doesn't take long though. It goes pretty fast. And oh, I forgot to mention that if you don't want to go to all that seasoning stuff and guesswork with all that, you can just buy a plain taco seasoning at the store, and instead of doing all the seasoning that I did, you just throw that taco seasoning in there with a little bit of water and let that cook down. And once that cooks down to where it's saucy, then you can drain it off a little bit, and that would work too. The taco seasoning. So remember that if you want to cheat. That's cheap. Okay, so here we go. Now this one I'm going to leave it by itself. You see? And it's fine. No problem. It'll stay closed because this stuff here is kind of tight. All right. And this is my last one to make. And then what I can do is I can take my seasoning and I can freeze it and take it out for another time, another occasion that I want to do that. You can also make these completely up and put them in a bag too if you wanted. Okay. All right. Okay. so easy to do, and they're so filling. Really, really, really filling. I mean, like, I'm pretty much, you eat one, you might eat two. Okay, it's the same thing. I got it, and I put it in the pot. If I can get that to put in there. Okay, and then that's it. Put it in place and let it go. And if you don't have these tongs, you can get them at like garage sales. You can get them Salvation Army or the Goodwill. They've got all those gadgets, and people are coming in and they're dumping all those gadgets. Don't go out and buy something that's $7, $8, $9. I mean, that's a lot of money. Those things are like 40 cents at those thrift shops. Yeah, save your money. Save your money for vacation. Okay, so now that one's done. So now I'm turning off that. Okay, so there we go. There's my chimichangas. Now, if you were, this over here so you can see that a little better, hopefully. Okay, so there's my chimichangas. Look how nice those are. Look at that. Wow. Hey, Gringa can do it. Yeah, why not? Okay, so then at that point, to finish this off, you can either choose to buy your salsa, or you can make it simply by just slice, do like onion slivers with some tomatoes, some jalapenos, and fry that up and let that simmer, and then you can pour it on top, or you could just use that's usually what I did in Houston, is I just made my own sauce and stuff. So I didn't have all that salt, because paste it's got a lot of sauce, the paste picante sauce. Okay, so that's what you do, and that's it. So now let's see how one of these chimichangas are gonna taste here now. Boy, I gotta get me a plate here. Okay. Alright. I'm not going to put any sauce on mine, because the sauce has got a lot of salt for me. I got to watch that salt. Oh boy. Okay. So then, I slice mine up. Very good. So, you would do these, then you put your salsa, and if you want cheese, you can do cheese too. And there you got it. You got a chimichanga. Sure is good. I might add more jalapenos next time on this. They're very good though. Okay, well, that's the end of how you make the chimichangas. It's just that easy. If you liked my video today, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye now.